So we're finishing the Maamar today, hopefully. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Which is very appropriate because this Maamar was the last Maamar that the Rebbe gave that we heard from the Rebbe. Tomorrow is Gimel Tammuz. Not tomorrow, Tuesday, tomorrow night. Start Gimel Tammuz, and this is the last Maamar that we were privileged to hear from the Rebbe's mouth. It was written down. We're learning it. So it's a good preparation for Gimel Tammuz. As a matter of fact, on Gimel Tammuz after Shacharis, so the Chabad custom is to actually learn parts of this Maamar in a group. So let's see where we are. Page 380.
380?
Yes, page 380.
I already looked at the
Oh. So in the phrase katit l'ma'or, crushed for the luminary, so we explained how when a Jew is crushed by the exile, so he can reach the luminary, not just the light, but the source of the light. So the previous Rabbi explained in the Maamar that there were decrees in Russia. We know there were decrees against the observance of Torah and mitzvahs. And through the self-sacrifice, through the Mesiras Nefesh that the Jews had, they reached the luminary. They were crushed by the decrees. And they reached the luminary. The Rebbe explains that there's a higher dimension of crush to the luminary. That even when the Jews are living in a state of prosperity, both in a material and a spiritual sense, the very fact that we're in exile we feel crushed. As we see in the Purim miracle, that after the miracle it says, La Yehudim ha'isa oira v'simcha v'sason v'ikar, like we say in Havdalah every week. Right? Jews enjoyed light and joy, gladness and honor, both in the literal and the physical and also the spiritual sense. And Haman's house was given over to Esther and Mordechai, right? Which the Rebbe says is changing the darkness into light. Haman is the forces of darkness. Haman is the forces of evil. The three impure klipos, Amalek. When his house, when his property was given over to Esther and to Mordechai, they were able to use his possessions for holiness. There's an advantage of the light that comes from the darkness itself. Hello. There's light that comes from light. And that could reach a very, very high level. Like take, for example, a tzaddik. Someone who was born, he was conceived in holiness and born in holiness and raised in holiness, and his whole life has been Torah and mitzvahs, and he grows in his love and his fear of God, and he reaches a high level of light. That's light coming from light, right? A higher level to a higher level of light, growing and becoming closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch. But then there's a light that comes from the darkness, and that's an altogether different level of light. It's incomparable. It says in Tanya that the light that comes from the darkness is of a higher quality. Altogether, it's a different quality altogether. Because it's a transformation. When light comes from the light, so, it's a stepping board. You go one level to the next level to the next level. But when you have darkness, how do you get light from darkness? So the way you get light from darkness is you take a Jew, you throw him down into this world, a world that's filled with light and darkness. And not everyone is privileged to be born, conceived in holiness, born in holiness, raised in holiness, right? Some people, their life is, they have darkness. But then a Jew discovers a Kodesh Baruch Hu, does tshuva, and he transforms the darkness into light. And even people that are have always been, like they say, FFBs from birth, they're not tzaddikim, right? In the way the Alter Rebbe describes a tzaddik. The Alter Rebbe describes a tzaddik as someone who killed his Yetzer Hara. We're all striving to be Beinonim. We're all striving to serve Hashem with machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh, with thought, speech, and deed, and we can't prevent ourselves from having impure thoughts that rise from time to time into our minds. We can just react and push them away with two hands. That's what we have to do, and try to concentrate on the good. So even people that are FFBs, there also this darkness in their souls, and they have to transform the darkness into light. But I think I told this story of Miriam Rhodes. I definitely told the story of Miriam Rhodes, that she once went to the Rebbe. She wrote to the Rebbe. She was in tears because she had been in India, and she had done things that Jews aren't supposed to do. And now she was in Mechon Alta in Svat, and she was learning about holiness, and she felt crushed. I was learning about exile, a feeling of she was in exile. She wrote to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe comforted her and said, even by Avram Avinu, his father was an idol worshiper. We all know the story, right? He was the store, he took the axe. We all know that story, right?
Yes, of course.
Of course, right? If this is machlokes, whether he was 3 or 40 when he discovered a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Some say it was a process. He began at 3, and only at 40 he came to the final conclusions. That is the truth. It's a process of growth. What about all those years? So the Rebbe says, by Avram, it says that Avram is Zoken, Babi Yamin. Avram was old, and he came with all his days. And the Zohar says all his days were complete. So the Rebbe, in writing back to Miriam Rhodes, asks, how can it be all his days were complete? It's first 40 years, or his first 3 years. First part of his life was not in holiness. So the Rebbe says that too was part of the divine plan, that he should be raised, and we can't sometimes be responsible, right? We can't be responsible for how we were born and how we were raised, right? Only once we become mature and we can think for ourselves and make decisions for ourselves, then we have a level of responsibility. So all that, a person shouldn't be depressed of whatever they went through. They should use it as a springboard. I heard once from Rabbi Kasriel Brusawankin from Florida that he used the metaphor of a diving board. Shalom Aleichem. That a diving board, the lower it goes, the higher it propels the person up, like a spring. So even though the Jewish people, after the Purim miracle, they had these qualities of oira, v'simcha, v'sason, vikar, light, joy, gladness, and honor, in the literal and spiritual sense, and Haman's house was given over to Esther, that they were able to transform darkness into light. Nevertheless, they were still in exile. As the sages say, we are servants of Achashverosh. We're still servants of Achashverosh, right? They were still in exile. They were still in Bavel, in Babylonia. Achashverosh was the king. Godliness wasn't revealed in the world. And this very fact that the Jewish people are in exile is enough to bring them to a state of feeling broken and crushed. And through this broken and crushed state, they can reach the luminary. So we have this requires a certain amount of explanation. Why is it that when a Jew is in exile, he feels broken and crushed? Or he should feel broken and crushed? So the Rebbe says, because the true desire of each and every Jew is that there be a revelation of godliness everywhere in the world. That's the true desire that each and every Jew has, even if it isn't revealed in his life. But that's his true desire. That's the desire of his soul. Soul is a part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And his soul wants that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be revealed in every aspect of creation. That, by the way, is one of the explanations that Chassidus brings for why Adam HaRishon ate from the Eitz Hadas. Because godliness was revealed in the time before the sin of eating from the Eitz Hadas. Godliness was revealed. There was one place where godliness wasn't revealed, in the Eitz Hadas.
According to Manis Friedman, it was not a head.
Okay. They had an intention. Go ahead, tell me.
According to Manis Friedman, who is a very famous, it was not a sin. He listened to Hava, and she knew that to eat was to make a tikkun olam, because Gan Eden was perfect. This place was not perfect.
So there was one place in the world where HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't revealed. That irked them. Right? And that really, in essence, irks every Jew. That disturbs every Jew. The fact, as it says, that the sages say, brought in the Yerushalmi, that whoever did not merit to have the Beis HaMikdash built in his lifetime should consider it as it was destroyed in his lifetime. Because he should, we know the Rambam says, a person should look at the world as completely balanced. And the one good deed, the one mitzvah that he can do, can tip the balance of the scales and bring the redemption. So if the redemption didn't come, it means that I'm not doing enough. We're not doing enough. We have to look at it like it's our responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the rabbis, right? Of the Torah scholars. It's our responsibility. Each and every person has to take personal responsibility in their life, and also in the fact that Hashem created them. They have to think, what can I do to bring the Gula? What can I do to bring the Gula closer? And if the Beis HaMikdash hasn't been rebuilt, I have to do more. Like the sages say, whoever didn't merit to have the Beis HaMikdash built in his time should consider it as if it was destroyed in his time. And how does a person feel if the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed? So imagine, you see the Beis HaMikdash being destroyed. The Rebbe says in Yiddish, in ganzen zerreißelt. Every fiber of his being is crushed. So that's the crushing of the exile that can bring a Jew to the luminary. Because when he's crushed like that, the essence of his soul comes out. And even a person like the Rashbi, the Rebbe says, but the Gemara says that Pelech reminding that the Rashbi, from his spiritual level, he was on the level of the Beis HaMikdash. So by him, it was like as if the Beis HaMikdash wasn't even destroyed. Even though he had to hide in a cave from the Romans for 13 years, his spiritual world, where his inner world was on the level of the Beis HaMikdash. Nevertheless, the fact that this revelation is not expressed throughout the entire world, that's a clear indication that even the revelation granted to that tzaddik, like the Rashbi, is limited. Because when the Or Ein Sof, the infinite dimension of the Or Ein Sof is revealed, it'll permeate every place. And if there's even one place in the remote corner of the world where HaKadosh Baruch Hu isn't revealed, then obviously the revelation of the Or Ein Sof that tzaddik is experiencing is limited. Because if it would really be a true revelation of the infinite godly light, it would permeate all of existence. We're going to skip a little bit. Now we're going to page 387. The Tzemach Tzedek relates, we would hear from our teacher and master, Nishmas Eden. His soul should be in, his soul is in Gan Eden. He's talking about his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe. But the Alter Rebbe would say, I don't want anything. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your world to come. I want nothing else but you alone. Now, if one of us would make that statement, it wouldn't mean as much as when the Alter Rebbe makes, because we don't understand what Gan Eden is. We don't understand what the world to come is. But the Alter Rebbe, he understood. He understood what the spiritual revelations were in Gan Eden. He understood what it's going to be like, to some extent at least, of how it's going to be, godliness is going to be revealed in the world to come. Nevertheless, he said, I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your world to come. I only want you. Just you. And the Rebbe says that the fact that the Alter Rebbe made such a statement, and the fact that the Tzemach Tzedek publicized it, means that each and every Jew has the potential to have a similar yearning. Which means that he should also want that Hashem's essence should be revealed in the world. And if that revelation is not taking place, he feels crushed. And therefore he requests 3 times every day, may our eyes behold your return to Zion in mercy. That there should be a revelation of godliness. That's a request, that there should be a revelation of godliness. We say that in Shemona Esrei every day. May our eyes behold your return to Zion. What does that mean? That means that just like in the Beis HaMikdash, there was a revelation of godliness, we also want a revelation of godliness. We're in exile. And these feelings that we're in exile brings us to the luminary.
But how many people, I mean, you say he wasn't worried about the world to come.
Not that he wasn't worried about it. He didn't want it. He wanted just that relationship.
About how many people, I mean, I don't even think about the world to come unless you mean this world in a better condition. That world to come.
When the Alter Rebbe was saying it, he was talking about spirituality. He was talking about, the Alter Rebbe was on a very high level. He was learning Torah and mitzvahs all the time. He sensed godliness in everything. And he yearned for godliness. He was in a body. The body hides, even though he was the greatest tzaddik of his generation. The body hides. The body, like Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, no person can see me and live. When a person's in a body, the body hides. After the body is shed, so the neshama leaves the body, and then the neshama goes to Gan Eden, and the revelations of godliness are extremely powerful. And then there's a level even beyond Gan Eden, which is called the world to come, where it's Gan Eden doesn't compare to the revelations of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world to come. I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know anything. But the Alter Rebbe knew something about it, and that wasn't enough for him. He just wanted to be with Hashem, because revelations is not the luminary. Revelations is the light. Revelations is the light, and the light is holy. Gan Eden is a holy place. The world to come is a holy experience. It will be. But it's light. He wanted the luminary. I only want you. The light is good. The light is holy. We say, Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. What's his name? His light. He is one, and his light is one. His light reflects him. We connect to him through his light. And we say, Ata Kodesh, V'Shimcha Kodesh. You are holy, and your name is holy. We connect. Your name is it's God's or Ein Sof is endless, is infinite life. But the Alter Rebbe, that wasn't. He wanted him. I want you.
Kadosh, Shimcha Kadosh, because there is a split.
Means what?
There is a split.
No. What?
Kadosh.
Yeah.
Shimcha Kadosh.
Yeah. VEATAH echad v'shimcha echad. You are one and your name is one.
The name is one, and you are one.
That's
Not
right.
the- not the
Hashem
name.
is one with it. VEATAH v'shimcha echad. He's gone. No, sorry. Hu u'shmai echad. Right? He's one with his name.
No. Hashem Echad, Ushmo Echad.
Hu, that's one expression.
It's
And
not Hu, Ushmo Echad.
That's also an expression.
Yeah.
They're two different expressions. They're two different levels of the Shmai. There's one level of the Shmo. Hu u'shmo echad. Without any ata echad u'shimcha.
This is separate.
What?
This is not.
I didn't hear you.
Hu Echad, Ushmo Echad.
The Mesiras Nefesh that comes about through decrees, like in Russia, like in the Purim story. So it's possible to look at those decrees as an external influence that generates the Jews' power to serve Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh. But it doesn't actually affect the Jews' revealed powers. While there are the decrees in force, so the Jew senses that he's a Jew and he has to act like a Jew and he has to conduct himself like a Jew, even if it means giving up his life for a Jew. But once those decrees go away, all of a sudden he returns to a state of, I wouldn't say normalcy, but all of a sudden that Mesiras Nefesh isn't apparent in his behavior like it was when the decrees were activated. And the Rebbe says that there were many people who for many, many years they displayed this Mesiras Nefesh in Russia. But then when they came out of Russia and they came to a country where they could observe Torah and mitzvahs without fear, without the decrees hanging over their head, they didn't display the service of Hashem with the same level of Mesiras Nefesh. So what happened over there? The decrees themselves were an external influence which awakened the essence of their soul, and for the time that the essence of their soul was awakened, it had effect on their thought, speech, and deed, but it didn't actually transform their revealed powers. Our thought, speech, and deed, those are our revealed powers. It didn't actually change our revealed powers.
7 October didn't last long.
In other words, if someone's connected to their essence, they're aligned. That's the goal over here, to align ourselves with who we truly are. Then the essence doesn't only serve like as a comprehensive influence, which like Yom Kippur is a comprehensive light. Which when Yom Kippur is in effect, you see all of a sudden Jews, they start acting differently. They were going to shul. They're not doing sins, right? Then Yom Kippur goes away and people go back to what's normal. Because there's a revelation and it affects us below. But when that revelation goes away, the effect goes away. So the Rebbe says the same thing happened to many individuals in Russia. There was a decree, right? It was the opposite of a revelation of godliness. It was a decree against godliness. But that decree caused the Jews to be crushed for the luminary, and it brought them to the luminary. It brought them to Mesiras Nefesh. But when the decrees went away, also the Mesiras Nefesh went away, because even though the essence of their soul was revealed, it didn't permeate their revealed powers, their thought, speech, and deed. Because
it applied to a minority.
what?
It applied to a minority.
No, what do you mean a minority? Minority of people?
Most of the
A minority of powers.
most of the Jews in Russia left Judaism.
What, they weren't Chabad Hasidim, the ones that were connected.
Speaking of Chabad Hasidim, but not of in general.
You're right. You're right. The exile has it had a very powerful effect on the Chabad Hasidim, that the Chabad Hasidim served Hashem with self-sacrifice to the point of actually giving up their lives. But on the other Jews, it created a weakening. Yeah. Yeah. Exile is not something we like. It's not something we want. We want to try to get out of exile.
So we could.
You know, we all want Mashiach to come. There's a pasuk that we say in the Nevi'im, Uba'u ha'oyevdim me'eretz Ashur v'hanidochim me'eretz Mitzrayim yishtachavu l'Hashem b'ha'kodesh b'Yerushalayim. There's a song. Yishtachavu l'Hashem b'ha'kodesh, right? Uba'u ha'oyevdim me'eretz Ashur. It means those who have become abud, those who have become lost in the land of Ashur. And the nidachim, those who have become pushed away, me'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Mitzrayim. So, homiletically, Ashur is related to the world wealth, and Mitzrayim is related to the word Meitzarim, difficulties. So, how interesting that the pasuk said that in the lands of Ashur, in the lands of wealth, the Jews will become lost. They'll become assimilated, and they'll become lost. And in the lands of Mitzrayim, where there's the decrees, they'll become nidachim. They'll become pushed away by the decrees. But nevertheless,
pushed away.
Like Yaakov Meir was saying, like pushed away from Yiddishkeit. The communist decrees pushed most of the decrees. It had a very terrible effect on most of the Yid living in Russia. That an entire generation, or even more than a generation, 70 years, right? Most of the Jews that were living in Russia didn't have any Jewish education at all.
The same wealth. Los Angeles.
What's happening in the United States now?
Los Angeles,
Some Jews.
San Francisco.
Assimilation, yeah. Okay. But you see, and Rabbi Wagner, who was from the University of Southern California, spoke in the shul I davened at in Shabbos and Ohel Rivka. Heard of that shul? Ohel Rivka, Rehov Harlap. So he came and he spoke, and he said, he's on the campus. He spoke a little bit about what's going on the campus. He said, since October 7th, he said, we've never seen such type of hate like this on campus. He said, but we've never seen, we've been putting tefillin on almost every day on thousands of Yidden that come up every day. You see that's awakening the Jews. Jews on campus are waking up, not every Jew. But the decrees, the hatred, unfortunately, when a person needs to be smart, yeah? If it says in the Kli Yakar is one of the Mefarshim of the Chumash. So it says that in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, when did the Geula come? The Geula came when the Jews cried out to Elokim. It says Ve'elokim shama et shavatam. When did the Jews cry out? When they had no more hope. They went to Paro. Paro didn't listen. They tried by all types of means to get help, that their situation become easier, but Eventually, there were no means left, so they cried out to Hashem. And then Hashem was waiting. The Kli Yakar says that's what Hashem was waiting for. He was waiting for you to cry out to me. Why are you crying to Paro? Why are you trying to make efforts with the kingdom? I'm in charge. Also, that's why we see from the Purim story, right? It says that Mordechai rent his garments, and he decreed a fast, and Esther decreed a fast, and only then she went before the king, right? Why not right away try to use your political influence? Because they realized that Kodesh Baruch was in charge. True, the garments in the physical world, it appears that there are people that are the ones who are dishing out the blessing, or the opposite of blessing. But like we learned in the previous Maamar, which Maamar was that we learned? In Mayim Rabim? No, it wasn't Mayim Rabim. Yeah, I think it was Mayim Rabim. Yeah, that we have to not become confused and distracted, and that it's a type of an avodah zarah. It wasn't Mayim Rabim. It's a type of avodah zarah to not just to worship idols, right? That's the original avodah zarah, but it's also a type of avodah zarah to think that there's actually any power in the world other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is orchestrating the events. He wants us to react. It's all going to be good. There's going to be joy and gladness and deliverance for the Jewish people. How exactly it comes about, it's going to also depend on how we react. Kodesh Baruch was waiting for us to cry out to him, to strengthen our commitment to Torah and mitzvahs, to strengthen our commitment to the Jewish people, to the land of Israel, to the Torah of Israel. And this Rabbi Wagner, was saying that, the decrees of exile, the hatred that's coming on campus, that's awakening Jews.
What's his name?
Wagner. Wagner.
What does he teach there?
What?
What he teaches there? What subject?
He's the Chabad Shaliach. He's the Chabad Shaliach on campus, yeah.
You say, is it mostly Muslim students, Arab students, or is it all types?
He didn't say. It's Arabs are,
They're at the forefront.
They're in the forefront, but a lot of Americans and even a lot of Jews even join.
Yeah, what did he say about the Jews then?
He didn't say, but that's what exile can. Not only it can. Did anyone? I suggested one time, a few shiurim ago, that people learn what it says in the beginning of Bichul Kosai, the 7 levels that a person could fall. Did anyone learn it in the Rashi over there? There are 7. Take a look over there.
I was looking where in Machukotah, but I was looking.
You were looking in the very beginning.
Fine. Which?
After the shiur, we'll take a chumash. I'll show you.
Just
okay.
Tell us now. You didn't leave a function.
Guys,
Hine.
podcast.
Pasuk Yud Dalet.
Well, first of all, which Besser, which book?
It's the end. It's Parshas Bichul Kosai, the end of Sefer Vayikra.
That is in Rishon.
What? It's chapter 26, Pasuk Yud Dalet. The Rashi on Pasuk Yud Dalet.
26:14.
Yeah, the Rashi over there. V'im lo tishmuli, if you don't listen to me, liyos amelim b'Torah, being diligent in Torah, v'lo tasu, mishalo tilmadu lo tasu, you won't fulfill the mitzvahs. And then it continues, v'im b'chukoisai timasu, you will loathe others who do the mitzvahs, self-hating Jews, right? People that loathe others who keep Torah and mitzvahs. Jewish people that are bothered by others who keep Torah and mitzvahs. Yeah. Mishpatai tigal nafshechem, soina chachamim. You will hate the rabbis. You will hate the wise men, the elders. Lebilti asais, Moinea es acherim me'asot. You'll try to prevent others from fulfilling Torah and mitzvahs. These are all the levels. You're not learning Torah, then you're not going to keep mitzvahs, then you're going to be bothered by those who keep Torah and mitzvahs, you're going to hate the chachamim. You're going to hate others that keep Torah and mitzvahs, you're going to hate the chachamim. You're going to try to prevent others from keeping Torah and mitzvahs. As kol mitzvah say, kofer shaloi tzivisim. And then you'll eventually kofer that they weren't even commanded by me. V'chein nemar at kol mitzvah say, v'lo nemar as kol mitzvahs. That's kol mitzvahs. Those are the 7 levels. Kofer beika harvi shever averis. Yeah, no. So then you're going to say they're not commanded by me, and then lahafrechem es brising. You will transgress my covenant. Kofer beikar. Person's going to say HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't exist. Kalim. Hari sheva averos. The first one harishon gareres hashniya, v'kein ad hashvis the Elohim, and up till the 7th. And these are them. Then Rashi summarizes. Lo lomed, he doesn't learn. Lo oseh, he doesn't do. Moyes ba'acherim ha'osim, he loathes those who do, who fulfill Torah and mitzvahs. Soinei asachachamim, he hates the rabbis, sages. Moinea esa'acherim, he tries to prevent others from fulfilling it. Kofer b'mitzvahs, he's kofer that the mitzvahs are from Hashem, and then kofer b'ikar, then he's kofer b'Hashem. Those are the 7 levels that are fallen.
What's happening in our society now?
Society, Jewish society, or general society? It's always happening. It's part of Golus. You know, I said once recently that a group of students asked the Rebbe, "Are we okay by you?" And the Rebbe said, the Rebbe answered brilliantly. He didn't see, if he said you're okay by me, so they could learn, they weren't from, so they could learn, well, we're okay, we don't have to do Torah and mitzvahs. If he said, no, you're not okay, he would push them away. So he said a person that's on a high rung of a ladder and a person's on a low rung of a ladder, right? Who is on a higher level? So you would think the person who's on the higher rung. So the Rebbe says, no, it depends where he was yesterday. If he's climbing up, he's going in the right direction. He's okay. And if he's going down, he's not okay. We have to be going up. And we all have in our lives, right? It's not always a constant climb. We go upwards. It should be, right? We should always be on a constant climb. But sometimes, things happen in people's lives. They get, the Alter Rebbe writes about it, when a person, Memela anyway, he's feeling a little annoyed or a little dejected over certain things, he should take that dejection, because depression is a terrible thing. A person should never feel depressed. A person should feel he should feel embittered. There's a difference between feeling embittered and depressed. When a person feels embittered, he's going to take action to try to correct the situation. When a person feels depressed, he's not going to get out of bed. He's going to pull the covers over his head, and he's just going to be lethargic. So, but the Alter Rebbe says, when a person, the Mela, for whatever things that happened in Olam Hazeh that make him feel a little annoyed, right? He should use it to help himself in his avodas Hashem. He should take that midah that he's now feeling because of material things, and he should use it to say, I have to get on a higher spiritual level. I have to work hard. I have to learn more. If I'm learning 1 shiur a week, I have to learn 2 shiurim a week. If I'm spending a half hour studying a day, I have to spend 45 minutes a day. Don't try to jump the whole mountain in one step. Usually people fall down if they try to take on too much. It's a great idea, but to actually implement it, it's easier said than done. But if a person says, if he's already learning, right, 15 minutes a day, and he says, now I'm going to increase it to 20 minutes a day, that's something he could do. And then he could increase it to 25 minutes a day, and then a half hour a day. And we know the Rebbe's Shita, the Rebbe's Derech, was always to demand to encourage, to seek that a Jew should do more and more and never rest on what he's done until now. Remember, we're seeing a video, a guy, he was so happy, he came to the Rebbe and he said, we opened up 5 mikvahs in the past year. So the Rebbe, he said he gave him $1. He said, then he gave him another few dollars. He says, here's for the next 20 or 50 that you're going to open up.
Have you seen then cover the major of Ariel, when he rounded Ariel, and each year he came back, it was developing, and there was never enough.
What's Ariel? What? Pass the water, please. What's Ariel?
Ariel is a city. Now it's a city.
Oh, and developing the city. You're right. The Rebbe, right. The Rebbe's always encouraging more.
He was never.
Anyone like some water?
Is there any left?
I remember in Gimel Tammuz waiting online, one Gimel Tammuz to go to be by the oil of the Rebbe. On Gimel Tammuz is a very, very long line, and they let you in only for 2 minutes, and then they kick you out. Right? It's a special day. It says on the York side of Tzaddik, all his avodah is like concentrated on that day.
Boy, they use the word Yortzeit.
Mm-hmm. And there was 2 Jews over there that one Jew was saying to the other, he said, you're not coming here. This is not like going to other rebbeim where you go, you give a pan, you get a bracha. This is, you give a pan and you're getting work to do.
Musa.
Not Musa. You're getting work to do. There's a lot of we need to accomplish. Every person has talents, skills, sphere of influence that he can influence, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to use our power that we have and our influence that we have to accomplish good things in the world, to bring more light, to help another Jew. The Yom Yom from last week, I think the Rebbe Maharash was telling his son, the Rebbe Rashab, really a person should know all the different pathways in heaven. Really, a person should. But the main thing is to do a kindness for another with heartfelt sincerity. That's the main thing. Do. Hamaisu ha'ikah, the Rebbe would say over and over. Hamaisu ha'ikah. The main thing is the deed. The learning is great, but it needs to bring to deed. That's right. So, where were we? So you see that, there's a Midrash about Noach. It says that Noach sent out the dove, right? After the waters began to subside, remember? He sent out the dove, but the dove came back, and it had an olive leaf in its beak, right? And then Noach sent it out again, and it didn't come back.
What about this? We said in dove, it's a only bird who is monogamic.
Has one wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't come back. What happened to his wife?
Don't know. Good question. She probably also went. I don't know. But there's doves today. It obviously worked out.
Yeah.
So
it
says when the dove came back, Noach extended his hand and brought the dove into the ark. So the Midrash says that when there were still waters, the dove came back, right? That I'm not sure of the exact wording of the Midrash, but the idea of the Midrash is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the Jewish people out to exile. And when it's good, the Jewish people don't come back. But when it's turbulent, the Jewish people come back. The Jewish people have to learn from the Kli Yakar. The Kli Yakar says that the Geul of Mitzrayim came when the Jews cried out to Hashem. And the Kli Yakar adds, and he says that also in the Revelation, in the future redemption, when Mashiach comes, Hashem wants the Jewish people to connect to Him, and Hashem will bring Mashiach. Mefurish over there. You can take a look in the Kliyuk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting for each and every one of us. So the Rebbe said to us, Ad Masai, we want Mashiach now. And the Jews would sing, We want Mashiach now. We cry out for Mashiach. Don't wait until HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings gezeres, brings decrees, and then you have to cry out from the difficulties. Be intelligent. Wake up. Wake up and cry out when it's still good. Right? There's different levels of tshuva. This tshuva person comes to the truth and he does tshuva. And then there's another person, he has to wait until he gets ill. And ailments strike him. And then in his state of the ailments, he realizes he needs a salvation, so he cries out. Right? That's also tshuva. But a smarter person doesn't wait till he becomes sick. He cries out before he comes sick. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that's happening in the world today, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is orchestrating. And everything he's orchestrating is for us. He wants us to connect to him. And it's happening. It's happening. We're connecting to him. But we need to be smart. And it doesn't have to get worse. Right? We should wake up. So the revelation of the essence of the soul that was revealed to these Jews who were serving Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh in Russia, it didn't fully permeate their being. Because when they came out of Russia, they stopped serving Hashem with the same level of Mesiras Nefesh that they were serving Hashem with in Russia. So this is the dimension of, the Rebbe says, what we have to do, we have to align ourselves with the dimension of our soul, which is called the essence of our soul, not only that our Mesiras Nefesh is when there are decrees, but even when there are not decrees. It has to come from us. When there are decrees, it's coming from an outside force. And then all of a sudden, the Jews wake up. And Rabbi Wagner's putting on thousands of pairs of tefillin. He's putting on tefillin every day. Yidden are coming, and more Yidden are coming close. And they realize they're proud of their Judaism. Not everybody. Not everyone got woken up. But a lot of the Yidden are getting waken up. Sometimes, unfortunately, it takes gezeres to wake up Yidden. Like the Gemara says, that when the signet ring, the transfer of the signet ring from Achashverosh to Haman caused the Jews to do tshuva more than all the exhortations of all the prophets.
Anecdote.
Sure.
I have a couple of Mitzvah Ramon, very good friends with Weinstein in England. And the wife said, well, he met me, and I was more or less religious, and he was from Israel. He didn't want anything to do with Judaism. And the night when Dean got shot, he found his way to the Hillel house. They met again.
Found?
To the Hillel house. And they met again. And the rest of it was Arsenal fan.
You reached this night? Turkey.
And this is what it says in the pasuk, Lios ner tomi, that it should be a constant lamp. The Jews bring the olive oil to Moshe Rabbeinu by serving Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh. The Jewish people who are called the feet of Moshe create an elevation in Moshe himself. Moshe teaches the Jews how to serve Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh, and when the Jews do it, they create an elevation within Moshe. And the constant lamp is the lamp of the soul that shines consistently in an unchanging manner. And that is when the feelings of being crushed aren't dependent upon the negative decrees of the exile, but the very fact that we're in exile and the Kodesh Baruch Hu is not revealed in every place. That is the great desire for Mashiach, that we want Hashem's revelation. And that when a Jew feels that he's crushed because there's not a revelation, so his soul is not aligned. The revealed powers of his soul are not aligned with the essence. But on the opposite, when his feelings of being crushed are not dependent on these decrees, and the very fact that he's in exile is what bothers him, so then that creates a constant lamp. And then the revelation of the essence of his soul can permeate also his revealed powers, because they're not dependent on external factors, they're coming within. He's now drawing forth from himself, from his inner resources, the essence of his soul. So Moshe is the one who connects the Jewish people to the Or Ein Sof, and then generates within each and every Jew the potential for him to carry out the service of serving Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh, until they shine as a constant lamp without any change or variation, even from the perspective of their revealed powers. And through these efforts, we will merit the true and ultimate redemption in the very near future. Sha'az yeh gilui elukus gam mitzad hamata, that the revelation of godliness will permeate even this lowly realm. Like it says, V'ra'u kol basar ki pi Hashem diber, u'malei ha'aretz de'es Hashem, that the world will sense godliness. There'll be a revelation of the glory of Hashem from above. And the fundamental nature of worldly existence will change. All flesh will see. In other words, we'll sense godliness as a fact. And at that time, we will bring the oil and kindle the menorah in an actual physical sense in the third Beis HaMikdash, with the coming of the true and ultimate redemption led by Mashiach. May this take place in the near future. So, we finished the Maamar as a preparation for Gimel Tammuz. Bezrat Hashem.
You?
Huh?
You?
See you.
See you.
Butler, close the
Should be a good preparation for Gimel Tammuz. We should all be zoicha to connect to the Rebbe and to serve Hashem with a constant lamp, and growing and constantly increasing the flame of Kedusha and bringing the light from the darkness and lighting up the world with Geula. Mashiach now, l'chaim u'levrach.
You know what was
Thank you.
Yeshakayach Rabbi Isai.
Thank you.